watching Beyond Markets, where we bring you up to speed on development outcomes in Africa. I'm Kenneth Igbomor. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. On today's show, we'll look at how identity management can help drive digitalization in Nigeria in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, you can join the conversation on social media and let us know what you think. The hashtag to use is Beyond Markets. You can also hit me up at Kenneth Igbomor. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic is paving way for digital transformation as businesses are shifting their operations to cope with movements, restrictions, and office closures. But central to the uptake of digitalization is identity management, and Aliyu Abubakar Aziz is the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission. He joins me now to share some insight on this. Thank you so much for your time today on the show, sir. And I'd first like to get your assessment of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenneth, and good morning, good afternoon, my viewers. Well, the impact of the pandemic is enormous, as no one plans for it. No one ever knew that such things is going to happen. And for us, our operation in capturing data is intrusive, and it requires direct contact with people. Therefore, it affects our input into the system. But once that the data is in the system, then it is very helpful to the economy that you can then verify or authenticate the users once that the back end of your system is working. So far, our operations have been affected at the front end. We are unable to capture data now, but the unique records that we have, the 42 million unique records in our database, are available for verification services. And we have more than 40 agencies that are connected to the system and providing data verification and authentication service. But it has seriously affected us in the sense that we can't have face-to-face and also capture the uniqueness of the people, that is capturing the biometrics of the people. Our pre-enrollment also online is available for people that have not yet enrolled to use that service, but capturing the biometrics requires face-to-face, so that to make it authentic and unique. So in that sense, we are affected at the front end, but the back end is working and is free.
All right, then I can imagine how it impacts your operations, because looking at the new normal here, people are working from home now more, and there are also social distancing rules being in place. But but it speaks to more the need for identity management at this time, because the work that you're doing is very crucial. And I'd like you to speak to the importance of having a proper ecosystem for managing the identity in Nigeria.
Yeah, of course, having digital identity is very, very important and very key to both the citizen and also the government, and even to the extent to even the sovereignty of the nation, because knowing the people is very, very important, and it starts from capturing birth and giving birth certificate, and then capturing addresses of their base data. That is capturing the biometrics to really know who those people are. And at this type of period whereby people have to work from home, then you can really see that people that are online, that have access to the internet, and also have access to like online banking, were able to continuously do their activities. But people that did not have online accounts had to wait until when the banks are open, and you can see the kind of crowds that we had when the we started easing the economy. So therefore, it's very, very important to to transform into a digital organization, a digital nation, in such a way that despite the pandemic, the internet at least has been working and you don't need social distances to provide services. And once that the data is there in a data center, in a secured place, then services can continue to go on. And also identifying the poor people for issuance of palliatives and welfare can also be done easily by combining information uh, from the base, which is the unique identity, and also combining it with transactions that the people have been having. Then you will be able to identify who are the people that really need assistance within the society.
Yes, I would like to expand on this a little because definitely I understand that there's no tangible response plan that we can have as a country without proper identity management. If we don't know who these people are, if we can identify who the most vulnerable are, and there's definitely no way we can definitely, like you rightly said, give them palliatives in a time where the world is troubled in a time like this. But I'd like to speak to that work though, especially in the work you're doing and the challenges that you're seeing in the rural areas to identify people.
Well, there are a lot of challenges. So, first of all, in this country, that in the rural areas, first of all, we need an enrollment center to capture the people, and at that enrollment center, you need power to power the systems, because there is no or you need mobile system that run on battery that you need to also charge them later on. So power is one of the major challenges that we've been having. Apart from the power, when you capture someone, then you also need to store that information and transmit it to the central database. So that telecommunication facilities is also a challenge that we've been having. And at the back end, you need to then process process these information in a way, in a secure manner, and then send back this information to the person. That is, send back the digital identity to the recipient. So again, you need to transmit that information, and then to keep this system running, maintain them, and make sure that there is power, there is motivation to do the work. Those are the major challenges that we have. And also because of the size of our country, having about 200 million people, the standard for an enrollment center is for every 50,000 people, you need a center. Therefore, we need at least 4,000 centers nationwide. But what we have now is just about 1,000. So that is just about a quarter of of what of the capacity that we have. So we need a program that will have many centers, and also to capture everyone, because the the COVID-19 has opened a Pandora's box, and it has shown that digital identity is required for each and every person that is living in the soil of Nigeria. And that is what we expect to do immediately post COVID-19.
Yes, because look, talking about the urgency that is needed, though, I understand that you have an approach called the ecosystem approach. Can you expatiate on that as well?
Yeah, we came up with the ecosystem approach because there has been a proliferation of government agencies that have been capturing data. There are also private sector people that are also capturing the data, to the extent that people mistake foundational identity with functional IDs. So a functional ID is like you have gone to a bank, you can be registered to be given a bank account and be given a bank verification number for that industry. So, but before that, by law, you need to first of all be identified. So the NIN, the National Identification Number, is for that foundational identity that is required. Therefore, we came up with this ecosystem to then ask all the other government agencies and private sector that are capable of capturing the data to now follow the standards of NIMSI and capture the data and send to the back end so that the NIN is generated before they can carry out their services. And then we will then also pay them based on successful enrollment. Mind you, we have gone through turnkey contracts before. We have also gone through a PPP approach. All of them have not worked. So we came up with this performance-based approach and an ecosystem approach, to the sense that, you know, anything that is ecosystem is sustainable and is also going to be cost effective. And therefore, NIMSI will go back to just providing the foundational identity, which is the digital identity NIN. And we then allow other government agencies and private sector to then build on that foundation to give in the functional IDs. So in September 2018, the Federal Executive Council, with the sitting president, approved the 33 million we should be able to commence this activity.
All right, so I need you to hold that thought for a while. Definitely, we'll pick up the conversation where we left off. We could take a quick break right now, and then when we return, we'll bring you more on Beyond Markets. Welcome back to Beyond Markets. If you're just joining us, we have Aliyu Abubakar Aziz, the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission of Nigeria. And we've been talking about how assessing how identity management can help Nigeria better manage the COVID-19 pandemic. He's been giving some very interesting points in the first half. But sir, I'd like to piggyback on what you were talking about before you left off. You talked about some of the previous approaches that you handled, you tried before, and then now you see looking at this ecosystem approach playing out well for you. But I'd like you to speak to some of the lessons that you learned along the way when you tried the other approaches.
Well, the other approaches, if we think of the turnkey project that we had earlier, usually you have very big firms that will come and to the top of the government and convince them that you need to do this service. Of course, even the government too knows that they need to do that service, and then you now budget huge amounts of money. But at the end of the day, then either one problem would lead to another one, and most of the problem is understanding the timing and also mobilizing the people, like talking to the right people in the media that can convince the people and have their buy-in. Because like in Nigeria, there's a lot of freedom, because people are free. We cherish our freedom. You travel from one end of the country and you don't expect anyone to ask you any form of identity. Meanwhile, in other countries, it's not like that. You cannot travel from point A to B without proving who you are. So it protects you as a citizen and also simplify the work of governance. So, but we did not get it correct. And when we tried PPP also, is probably the timing was bad because that was 2007, 2008, and then there was this financial meltdown, and it affected the PPP partners from getting the adequate equity that they wanted to get from the financial institutions. Therefore, it became not possible to do that because you require lots of funding, especially for the size of population that we have here. So that also led to problems that it didn't work. Therefore, that is why we came up with this approach that is inclusive of all the stakeholders, and also then it is a performance base that is pay after the service, not pay and just get the contract and bring in excuses. So we rather adopted that it should be that uh, you do the work and then we pay you after the work. And we believe that some other countries similar in demographic like us and population like India have adopted similar system, and they were able to enroll more than a billion, 1.3 billion people in 9 years. So we believe that with 200 million people in about 2 to 3 years, we should be able to enroll
All right now.
everybody. Though yeah.
Oh, all right, now let's get into that recently approved World Bank identity project, and I'd like you to give me the details as well.
Okay. You want me to give you the details of the ecosystem program? Okay, so far we have prepared the program and then submitted to the funding partners, that is the World Bank, AFD, which is a French development agency, and also EU. And in February this year, the board of the World Bank have sat and approved. Now we have entered the implementation mode. Then came the COVID. So we still have online meetings to try to move the project. Meanwhile, last year also we have advertised and asked for companies that are interested, and also civil society and others that are interested and small scale people that are interested in doing this job and doing it very well, to submit expression of interest, which they did. We have done the evaluation and we have gotten go ahead from the Bureau of Public Procurement to move to the next stage. So we are now just preparing to move to the next stage, which is the RFP, to agree on the modalities and also the rate of how much we pay per different locations in Nigeria. And once we have done that, then we'll just kick-start it. Meanwhile, the
Oh,
back end has been ready. We have capacity for about 100 million, but so far we have enrolled 42 million. So we have capacity to even commence right now. We have a system that is running. All we need is to scale it up. And it's this ecosystem approach that will scale it, and then we have the bomb.
all right, but I would like to extend this into how you plan to enroll people, Nigerians who are in the diaspora. You know, how are you planning to capture them? I understand sometime towards the end of last year, there was some announcements made, and I would like you to clear the air and, you know, give me the details as well.
Yeah, well, diaspora people are the people that consume more of the passport service than others. And one of the requirements is that before you obtain a passport, you need to have the identity. Again, this is differentiating function functional ID from the foundational ID. Meanwhile, um, a lot of people outside the country have the passport, but they don't have the NIN. And there's a presidential directive that the NIN must be embossed on the passport of every Nigerian citizen. Therefore, and they came up with a new passport last year, which was launched around April last year. And when we were asked, then we quickly have to then mobilize vendors that have already been doing this job for both the uh, um, uh, providing passport service, providing visa services, and also enrolling for BVN. So we engage them, and because it is outside, and also they need equipment, they need logistics, so they are charging to provide this service. The service is free inside
All right,
responsibility
but
to
there's also,
provide
I'm sure.
this. So right now we are in many countries and the service is on. So because of the COVID, we shut down for a little while. But this week we are planning to recommence the services of the diaspora, because several places in the diaspora, we understand that there is no lockdown and they need to continue with the service.
All right, then, still building up on this, though, I can imagine it's not the first time you are hearing this question about being asked about, why can't we harmonize the database? I would like to know what the challenges are in harmonizing the database, because we have the immigration database already, we have the driver's license database, we also have the BVN database. How come we can't harmonize all of this to ensure that we can make your work faster?
Yeah, well, that is the simplest, easiest way that everyone always thinks. But there are fundamentals of harmonization. When you are harmonizing, you have to have standards. You have to have a base of what you are harmonizing. If someone is capturing 2 fingers, you cannot come and harmonize with the basic requirements of capturing the 10 fingers. So far, they both based on standard and quality, it has been only the BVN records that have satisfied NIMSIS standards, and therefore we commence harmonizing data with BVN data since 2015, and so far we have harmonized about 14 point something million records that we have, that they are harmonized. But still, this is just a small number, and we are working on currently harmonizing about 25 million records while this COVID is going on. We are working on with NIPS to do that. So that is the one that we have been harmonizing. But all these other databases have one question mark or the other. Therefore, it is much more easier to recapture the data than to try to harmonize things that are not following the standards. Yeah.
All right, now, but very quickly, there's a very important part I needed to speak on, and I'd like to do it very quickly. It's on security breaches and privacy concerns as well, because I can imagine, dealing with identity is a very tricky subject, and I can imagine if people lose their identity to fraudulent means. I'd like to know what measures are in place to protect that.
Yeah, well, security, as you rightly say, is one of the most important parameters that are considered in the design of a system. For us, we embarked since 2013, we embarked on certification for information security. And we have been certified since that time. And every year we get recertified. So even within this, just before the COVID period started, we have been re-certified again for a 2-year period that our services are following standards.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm afraid that's all we have time for on the show today. Definitely we will run out of time, but definitely it's a conversation that we'd definitely like to expand and extend for some other time. I've been speaking to Aliyu Abubakar Aziz, the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission of Nigeria. And that's all on Beyond Markets for today. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. Remember, you can watch the show at 5 p.m. West Africa time daily and have access to all episodes of Beyond Markets on our website. That's at cnbcafrica.com. I'm Kenneth Igbomor. Thank you so much for watching.